So today we're working on 7.5, and just to save time, I printed these out for you guys so that we don't have to do quite as much writing, okay? So we're going to talk about something called angle-angle similarity, okay? In words, what that means is that if two angles of one triangle, so if two angles of one triangle, two angles of one triangle are congruent, we should all be writing this down, to two angles of another triangle, then the triangles are similar. Okay, if two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the two triangles are congruent. Right. Okay. Uh-huh. Right. Okay. Not a problem. Thanks. Okay, so basically if two of the angles are exactly the same, then the triangles are what are called similar, okay? Remember, congruent means exact same size and shape. Similar means same shape, but not necessarily the same size. Okay, so like these two, we can tell just looking at them, they're not the same size, right? But they might be similar, okay? And similar means they're the exact same angles and they're the same measures, okay? So if two angles of one triangle are congruent to two angles of another triangle, then the triangles are similar. So if angle A is similar to angle F, okay, and see how they have the little one arc there, okay, one little symbol. And what would the other two be that are similar? B and G. And angle B is congruent, okay, that's that little equal sign with the little squiggly line above it, angle G. So if these two are congruent and these two are congruent, then triangle ABC is congruent to, how would you name this triangle? F, G, H. We usually name them in alphabetical order. Okay? So ABC is congruent to F, G, H. Now, it is technically important that you go in the right order. Okay? So for this one, we went from the corner that has one arc mark to the one that has two, and then to one that doesn't have any. You have to name them the exact same way. Usually they're already lined up, so it's going to be alphabetical order. Okay, so here, F, then we go to the one that has two, which was G, then the one that doesn't have any, and that's H. Okay, so these are congruent. That's what we're trying to get today. For number one, it says determine whether the triangles are similar. If so, if they are, then write a similarity statement. So what we have to do is figure out what are the missing angles here. How could we figure out what the missing angle A is here? Amber? We know that all of the ones inside a triangle equal what? 180. Okay? So we could say that this is angle A, so angle A plus 80 plus 42 equals 180. Then how would I solve for angle A? What would you have to do there?
Subtract.
We'll add these two together and then yes, subtract. So angle A plus, what's 80 plus 42? 122 equals 180. Then we use called the inverse operation. So you'd subtract the 122 from both sides. And what do we get? Angle A is equal to what? 58? Okay, so I'm just going to fill in the blank here. So 58. Now, we know that the 80s are already equal to each other, right? Okay, so if you wanted to, you could put that little tick mark there. Okay, the one arc mark. Are the other two, are any of the other angles equal to each other?
No.
No. Do we even really have to figure out what angle E is equal to? No, because it's not 60 is one of these, and this one has a 58 and a 42. So are these two similar?
No.
No. Okay, so these are not similar. And sometimes that happens. Okay, I don't know, just looking at those, they look like they might be similar, but I really don't know. Okay, so the way that you can tell is by checking their angles. Okay, we're looking for what's called angle-angle similarity. So two angles, they're exactly the same, then that means that the triangles are similar. Okay, how about for number 2? It says determine whether the triangles are similar. If so, write a similarity statement. So obviously we know the 110s are equal to each other. Okay, so this one is equal to this one. Are there any other things that you could tell? How else could I find the other measurements? Does anyone remember? How can I find the other measurements? Without using a tool, a compass or a protractor or anything. These two are the same. Why do you know that these are the same? What do we call those? What do we call them when they're right across from each other? Adjacent is right next to each other. Vertical. Okay? Vertical means across. I know you all meant to say that, okay? But yes, they are vertical. So, angle K, I'm going to put 2 arc marks, is equal to angle K. So, can you say that these two triangles are similar? Yes, because you have 2 angles that are similar.
Mrs. Coon, why is there a little hand on there?
Because when I did the clip art, somehow it stayed on there. Sorry. I knew you guys were gonna ask me about that too. It's just to be pretty. I don't know. Sorry.
It's a design.
It's a design. Yeah. Okay. So if so, write a similarity statement. So can you tell me, how do I write a similarity statement? So similarity statement, I know that, let's talk about the angles that are similar. So JHK, angle JHK is congruent to which angle? How do you have to name this? If I go from the corner that doesn't have anything on it to the red corner to K, I have to start with the M. So you have to start with the corner that doesn't have anything on it to the corner with the red to the K. So those are similar. Is there anything else that you can say is similar? What other angles are similar? Remember, I have to prove that there's 2 angles that are exactly the same. Angle H is similar to angle L. Is there anything else that we can write that's similar? I'm sorry. This is the same thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just named the same one twice. I apologize. That was very silly of
I
me.
think I didn't write that down.
It's okay. Which is the other one I really should have said? I apologize. The K one, okay? But I can't just say angle K because I wouldn't know which one I was talking about. So we need to name this one. So we're going to go from the one that has nothing to the K to the H. So JKH. Hey, I apologize. I did that backwards. And then how would you write the other one? The one that has nothing to the K to the L. How would you write that one? Angle M. K. L. Okay, those are 2 different angles. I apologize. That didn't make sense the first time I said that. So you have to have 2 different angles. Okay, so I wanted to name these 2 Ks, but I can't just say angle K because we didn't know which one.
Wait, so do we write that?
These are both, you have to write both of them. Yes.
So that was the right answer.
This is the correct answer. I mixed up the letters the first time I wrote it down. You have to write both of them. Yes, you have to write both of them. Yes. Then,
Why is that little hand?
Because I accidentally copied it on the clip art when I picked the picture. We already talked about that, but thanks. Okay? Because they have to be similar. I couldn't say that like I have to put the 110s in the middle. Okay? The 110s have to be in the middle. So H and L have to be similar to each other. I can't say that H and M are similar. So if you don't put the orders in the right place, or if you don't put the letters in the right order, you're not telling me the right ones.
Oh, I get it.
Okay? So you have to put the letters in the right order. Otherwise, you're not telling me. You'd say like J is similar to L. Well, but they're not. Okay? But this one we can't just write K because it could be any of those. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay. So how do I write the similar triangles? So how would you name the triangles? Okay, so we have two of those. So, triangle, let's name this triangle, the little triangle. Where do you want to start? Start at the corner with nothing. Then which way do you want to go? To the 110 or to the K? You decide. K, and then what's last? H is congruent, so that's when you do the little kind of squiggly line, not the equals underneath it, okay? The equals underneath means similar. Excuse me, means congruent.
Does that say 50?
Just this means similar.
Does that say 50?
So. Okay, this is how we write similarity statements. You have to write two statements. Then you tell me what that means. So we gave you two angles that are similar. So that means triangle JKH is similar to triangle what? How do you name this triangle? Are you going to name this triangle? MKL. Yes. Can you wait for just a minute so we finish these? Yes. Okay, now let's look at the back. Okay, let's look at the back of this. Okay, these are a little bit different. Now we're going to start talking about similarity, but we're going to set up some proportions. Okay, so something like number 3, it says a fire hydrant 2.5 feet high gives a shadow of 5 feet. Okay, how tall is a street light that has a 26-foot shadow at the same time? Now, obviously, if you looked at one thing at 10 o'clock in the morning and something else at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they don't give you the same shadow. Okay, so these have to be similar. So we're already telling you these triangles are similar. But we need to figure out, how do I set up a proportion? Okay? Anyone have any idea how would you set up a proportion? Yeah.
Isn't it like...
Right, we're going to write 2 fractions. So I set it up, I started it here. So first we're going to write the shadow. Okay? How tall is the shadow of the hydrant?
5 feet.
5 feet. How tall is the shadow of the street light?
8.
26 feet. Equals, how tall is the actual hydrant?
2.5.
2.5. How tall is the actual street light? We don't know. That's what we're solving for. Okay, so you write H. Then, how do I do this? Cross multiply, right? So 26 times 2.5. You guys do that. 5H equals 26 times 2.5. So do 26 times 2.5. You guys can do it on your own paper. Not right now, but you can wait for just a minute.
67.
You should get 5H equals, what's 26 times 2.5? Should be 65. Okay, then how do we get H by itself?
Divide.
Divide both sides by 5. So we get what? The height is equal to, how many times does 5 go into 65? 13. Okay, and it's 13 what? Feet. Okay, I want them labeled. Okay, so the hydrant would be 13 feet tall. Or excuse me, the lamppost. Yes, and I knew that you knew it was right. I just wanted to make sure you could set it up. Good for you. Good job. Okay, next one. How tall is the flagpole? Okay, I'm not sure if you can see it super clearly, but there is a little triangle right here. Okay, So this little triangle, okay, let's set up the little triangle to the big triangle. Okay, so 2 goes with 22. What goes with the 3.5? So basically we're doing length, and the top is height. So 2 goes with 22. 3.5 goes with what? H. Then how would I solve? Cross multiply. So do 22 times 3.5. And then cross multiply, we're going to get 2H equals, do 22 times 3.5. Tell me what we get. You guys are capable of doing multiplication. What do we get? 77. Okay. Then, how do you get H by itself? Divide both sides by 2. And what is 77 divided by 2? You could do this. $77 divided by 2. 38.5. So 38.5 what? Feet. Okay, so we're setting up proportions. Okay, this is something called indirect measurement. Okay, indirect measurement. And then the last one I'm going to do, it says the two triangles are similar. Find the distance across the lake. Find the distance across the lake. Okay, so let's look at the length on one side and the height. Okay, you can call them whatever you'd like. Okay, which ones do you know go together? We know the 2 and the 5 goes together. Okay, so we know the height 2 and 5. And you know the D goes with what? 10 goes with which one? The 2 or the 5? The 10 goes with the 2. What goes here? Is it just D? Is this whole triangle just equal to D? What is that? D plus 10. Okay? This whole thing, this little triangle right here is 10 across and 2 high. The whole thing is 5 high, but its length is 10 plus D. Okay? So it's not giving you the whole length. But you can still do that. Okay? We're still going to cross multiply. So if you cross multiply 5 and 10, we get 50. Equals, if you cross multiply 2 times 10 plus D, how do I do that? Distribute. So 2 times 10 gives you 20 plus 2D. Make sure you distribute all the way through, so multiply the 2 through. Then how would we solve? Subtract the 20, which leaves you 30 equals 2 times D. Divide by 2, and that gives you 15 equals D. But what does the question ask you? Is the whole thing 15? If you look at the whole thing, the lake is only right here. So the lake is just 15 meters. Okay? So you have to kind of look at the picture a little bit on this one. Okay? So the lake would be 15 meters. Okay? You guys do have homework on this. It's in your book. You're going to be working on page 557. And you are doing numbers 1 through 7 and 14 through 17. Okay, 1 through 7 and 14 through 17. Okay, if you guys have any questions, let me know.